I guess I was probably, I'm going to say 16. Couldn't have been much older than that. I went to work for a guy, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, it don't make any difference. He was building a whole old folks home in Gunner, Texas. That was about 9 miles north of Salina. So I caught him one night and asked him if he needed another hand, and he said, no, I'm pretty well full up. But I wouldn't let it go. I just kept telling him how bad I needed a job and everything. So he said, oh, heck, come on and go to work. So anyway, I went to work. I worked there one day doing odds and ends. And then the next day he asked me, he says, I was working with a guy named Sam Jones. And he came up and he said, Sam, do you know anything about dynamite? And he said, not really. And I said, I do. I know all about that dynamite. Well, I didn't want to lose my job. I'd volunteer for anything. So I said, sure, I know a lot about dynamite. Well, he said, we need to dynamite some rock down here because we can't dig any further. So we went out, and I knew to drill holes because I'd watched it in movies. So I drilled these 4 holes, and I put a stick of dynamite in each one of them. And I took this wire and went up to this house and plugged it into 110. Nothing happened. So I thought, well, maybe it's faulty dynamite. So I put a stick in each one of those, 4 more sticks in each one of those holes. Went up there, plugged it in, nothing. Well, by that time, it's time to quit. So I went into town that night, and I looked up, he was always uptown, so his name was Canancer, Bob Canancer. And I said, Bob, let me tell you what I'm doing here and see if you can't help me. Well, he says, if it's got anything to do with dynamite, I can. And I said, well, I described to him what I'd done. I drilled 4 holes, put dynamite, nothing happened. Oh, he said, well, that's why it's not happening. You're plugging it into that 110, and it's just burning the cap up. You just need to hook it up to a car battery or flashlight batteries.
How come he knew so much?
He was a dynamite expert in World War II.
Oh.
Demolition guy. We had all those kind of guys. They just got out of the service and everything and been out, 5, 6, 7 years. So anyway, he told me how to do it. So I went up there the next day, and I thought, well, I've rent that dynamite, so why don't I put a stick more in each one of those holes? So I did, and I took my wire from the dynamite, went up to this building, and good thing we got in the building. We got in the building, and I took this car battery, and I stuck those 2 cables there, and you never heard like the noise in your life. I even had time to get out and look, and I looked up, and Lord, here come all this, all this stuff back down out of the heavens. That blow, I'd blown it sky high. So the Lord has looked after me most of my life, or I wouldn't even be here right now. Oh, and the funny thing about this is after I even got married. I was going across the square to go to the bank, and there's all this excitement. Oh, before I get to that. Anyway, we had this dynamite left over, and this goat that played with the old people there at the nursing home, he was kind of like a pet to them, and I thought, well, I'll feed that goat this dynamite. So I fed him a couple of sticks of that dynamite. Never thought any more about it. Anyway, years later, I was going to the bank across the square, and this excitement about this big cattle truck. They'd always bring cattle in and sell them there on the square. And I thought, well, what they got in that thing? So I jumped up on this cattle truck, looked over in there, and there was that goat. And I said, that goat come from a nursing home up there at Gunner. And I said, yeah, he got so dang mean up there that they had to get rid of it.
Dynamite didn't agree with him.